Hey, I want to say thank y'all for tapping in with your boy, the ambassador. We are live and unscripted with Coach Dennis Harrison. Hey, I want to say thank you, Coach, for taking the time to jump on the podcast with me. Man, before we get into all the questions, please
Yeah.
introduce yourself to the people.
Well, Coach, I got to tell you, I'm Dennis Harrison, coach of Shoreline College, women's basketball coach, head coach here. I am a alumni of Shoreline College. I played back in the many moons ago, but kind of giving back. And I was with the men's program 5 years ago or so.
Okay.
The coach there and I were teammates back in the day. So it
Oh,
was something
wow.
really cool. Yeah. Matter of fact, the former athletic director, his first year coaching was my first year playing. So that was a long time ago. That was long time, early '90s. Yeah. But Coach, I wanted to talk about when we first met. That was a couple years ago.
Yes.
You right at that high school game, right? Where
Yes.
I was looking at one of your players at the time, and you were really helpful. I was appreciative of that. And then we ended up seeing each other at Olympic College when we played against them. Yeah, so that was really cool. And
Yes.
you always said about, we were going to do this one day. I think that's what it was. We were talking about doing this. So this is cool. This is my first time here doing this podcast thing. So this is really cool for me.
Oh wow!
Appreciate
Yes, no, and that's true, right? Because that year we actually went to state, the CK, my first year with them, and I had I know I'm trying to think Baumgartner, Ella,
Yeah,
Ella,
yeah, yeah,
yes, yes. I had Ella, and yes, we spoke, and back then we was talking and began to find out there was players or people that I played with that you knew at Shoreline that was a part of the staff, and it was like, whoa, wait a minute, and here it is, like you said,
yeah.
you're the head coach now. How? So this is gonna be a great interview because of the fact that I'm about to say, I think I have to say you're the first female head coach that I've had.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, right. So most of them has always been, if it's college men or always on the men's side, but on the women's side you are the first one, and I think that that's pretty cool because I have a love for the women's side, and we always talk about trying to find players, and so to hear actually y'all had some pretty good success at Shoreline. Y'all did pretty well out there, correct?
Oh, I'm in my office right now. I'm looking up at the Shoreline all-time winningest class in Shoreline history. Yeah, those four players a couple years ago. It was Taylor Eldridge, Maddie, Leah, and Gemini. They were, they had a great two years here. They won 20 games one year, 19 another year,
Wow.
and so plaque for them. Every time I come in my office, I see their faces. Yeah,
So
for sure. That year we had 11 deep, and the beautiful thing about it was we were able to go five in, five out, five in, five, especially in the preseason. Coach, you know how it is. You're just trying to figure it all out, and there was some blowout games that we had, but a matter of fact, I make a little uh, video. I think it was highlights or maybe a full game of one of the games we won by 66. But the point of it
whoa.
was to show my recruits that were coming in this year that this is the style of offense and defense that I like. And
Okay.
all of them really liked it. But I said, don't look at the score because I wanted to show them that no matter what the score was, they were playing hard all the time, both ways too, both teams.
Okay.
So that was a good thing to see. Of course, with the other team being down that much, they could have gave up, but they played hard and we played the same way. And it came across really well on the recruiting process time. You know what I mean? We send it out and explain it. But that was great.
So what kind of players do you look for? Because I know that's one of the things too, right? That's one of so one of those people who know me. I'm all about building relationships, and this is why this is my guy, Coach Dennis. Is all about saying how do we create a pipeline to help our players get to the next level. And so, what type of players? Because I know I have some players, of course, out here in Kitsap. Not only Kitsap, but I know other players as well. But I have some young ladies that I know are looking to go to college. What kind of players are you looking for, or do you look for?
Well, the style of offense and defense, of course, defense is really important. And in this division, in this level, JUCO level, the NWAC, the success that you get out of this division, of course, the fundamentals has to be there, but the speed, quickness that you can get out of guards, the transition offense, transition defense, it's something I feel like, a lot of teams just don't practice. It's usually half court set offense, half court set
Yeah.
defense. You can get players that can go up and down, handle the ball, maybe two-way players, defense and offense.
Right.
Of course, a triple threat type player. If, for example, one of my star players this past year, Tai Mane, she's 6'2", and I told her after her first year, I said, you average over 50% from field goal range, and I said I'll
Wow.
put you in that position where it's like that elbow, you get that triple threat scenario because she can put it on the floor, she can shoot it real well, and she, one of my better passers on the team. So anybody that you have that has the fundamentals of a strength, passing, shooting, defense, I mean, I love it. You speed, quickness. Um, just to let you know, this year I think 9 or 10 right now
Okay.
that are coming in. April 1st was our first time of being able to recruit, right? So here we are a month later, and I got a good core coming in right now. I got a few more spots left that I can fill in, and
Okay.
yeah, coach, yeah. A matter of fact, you did connect me with somebody. If I don't know if you remember, it was
Yes.
no call. What was it? Where was it
Yep.
at?
Oklahoma. Yes.
We had a great conversation, and she had a couple players for me, and I haven't found out if they're still available or not. I tried to
Okay.
reach out not too long ago, but tell me about
I will
those two
follow.
players.
Yes, I will follow up with her. And she actually played for OC back when I played. I
Oh,
think it was around or after I played or something. So that's how I know. Basically, I'm about to say Shayna. I don't want to mess up her name, but the mom is a good friend of mine from my playing days, and she has her daughter and I think her friend or something that was looking for opportunity. So once they reached out to me, automatically thought of you. Yep, hold on. And she was like, "Oh man, thank you. He was great, and this and that." And so that was always, great to hear because I'm like, I like to pride myself to be associated with great people. You know what I mean? So to hear that, and she was like, "Oh yeah, we loved it." So I'm gonna reach back out to her and see if she's still looking. But that's the other part too, for those who know me or who follow me, is my relationships are key, right? So if I put my name on someone, it's a very big thing, and I don't just do that just any willy-nilly because of the fact that it could make or break a relationship real easily. You know what I mean? Because of the fact that, and you know that, coach, that hey, if I say they're good off our relationship, you're gonna take my word and you're gonna go and be like, "Whoa, what is this, coach?" You know what I mean? And so for those who are looking for a home, especially females, and this is one of the best programs in our area, JUCO, that one of the coaches that is really making things happen. Shoreline, tap in with me, tap in with him, and like you said, he still have a few spots available. What? Uh, how long have you been the head coach at Shoreline?
I've only been here a couple years now.
Okay.
Like I said, it was I was assistant with the men's program. Pandemic happened, stepped away for a
Okay.
little bit. The head coach of the women's basketball, a good friend of mine, and I was always involved, helping with the recruiting and all that. And me being from Hawaii, there was always that Hawaii pipeline, And
Yeah.
one of the things with Hawaii players, they transition really well from their high school over there, over to the
Okay.
NWAC. And matter of fact, I'm just happy to see a lot of Hawaii players that are all over the NWAC right now,
Okay.
and they're doing well, and that's a great thing to see, and I also help other programs. I mean, if there's soccer, softball, baseball, I mean, you name it. If I can help a high school kid to come out and play sports, college sports, and this coach is only, I think it's only 7%
Yep.
on college sport, right? So, you know, being one of like I said, I've been there, and I was given that opportunity to play here at Shoreline, and then of course moved on and walked on at the University of Hawaii, and I played a little bit overseas, and it's just the basketball journey of what we have, what we love. You
Yes.
just practice something and be able to live out their dreams. So this is the time of the year where it's exciting because I have a lot of campus tours. People come from different states, let's say. And what was really cool, coach, I didn't tell you about this, but there was a coach, guy that from Utah, that brought over 5 Utah girls, one from Wyoming, and was taking a tour around the Northwest. They stopped over here. We set up a nice little open run, and took them around. I actually took them around to give them the whole campus tour. So it was a lot of fun. And they're from Utah. One of the better players I saw in that group was actually going on her mission. So she won't be available for a couple years, right? But
Okay.
she was like 6 feet. Uh, she was, man. She can shoot from the outside, go inside. She could put it on the floor. She was, amazing, amazing player. So, and like I said, in a couple years away, we'll see. She'll be around somewhere for sure, basketball wise.
Hey, Coach, one thing I definitely want to do with you, I want to set up something because so this is a vision that I have, and I love for you to be a part, and I know you can help me. I had a thing that I wanted to do, I think it was around pandemic, um, and I started to look at the fact that women don't have a lot of resources, right? And there's a need as well for coaches that's looking for young ladies to play at that level. So I had created this thing called the Ashley Robinson Initiative, and so it was about doing a showcase. You know what I
Okay,
mean, for young ladies to get an opportunity to play in front of college coaches, and so that's one thing I wanted to do it here in OC. Oh, lost you. I know you'll be back real soon. So let me see before he will be back, and I will be able to finish the initiative. But those who, here we go.
sorry about that.
Okay, you're good.
Okay,
So the initiative. So basically, like I said, I wanted to do it here at OC and pretty much be able to invite a bunch of college coaches out, or not only that, but even be able to schedule. Because of course, I have a youth program myself. I have some up and coming young ladies that I think you would really like. They're young, but I just want to get maybe your evaluation, your assessment on them. I got their freshmen and sophomores. They're young. That's why I say they're young, but there's
yeah,
some great talent. And I think that that's one of the things that I wanted to be able to do is really not only my kids in my program, but just as a whole for my county is be a resource or a pipeline to help them to go off to college, maybe if they have the skill set to go to pros. But I want to collaborate or talk to you on a way that we can set up something on a yearly basis that we can, if we need to come to to Shoreline and do a camp, or something that I can take a group of young ladies, especially I definitely got to have my program. My young ladies, lady admirals, go out there and they get to play and against your kids, or you get to see them participate in the camp. So I definitely want to figure out a way that we can build that relationship.
absolutely, for sure. This, even this summertime coming up, we got of course the Shoreline Summer League. Where
Okay.
we invite AAU programs, we invite college programs, we invite just summertime. They come out and they go up and down. If the coaches are not involved, they just go up there, and scrimmage. Of course, Marvina
Yeah.
Kemp. she does that. She does a great job doing that. She does it every year for us here at Shoreline, and she's just a great person all the way around to be able to give
Yes.
back much. So yeah, she helps out that way, and like I said, I do have a couple more Sundays left, May 25th and June 8th, where I have an open run
Uh-huh.
for women. From AAU. I've had the AAU girls come in here, high school, college, former college, and they go up and down. So keep that in mind. Those days, May
What,
25th
what
and
what are those dates again, Coach?
May 25th
May
and
25th. Okay.
4 p.m. to 6 p.m. is our
Okay.
window. And yeah, invite them all up here, and we can have them scrimmage for a couple hours, have a good time. You know.
Okay, so I'm going to definitely talk to my group. Like I said, so I got some young ladies you're gonna be very impressed with that. I'm sitting here, I'm like, y'all are young and you're doing very well at this age. Wait in a few years, you're gonna have a lot of colleges that's interested. And so I think this would just be a great opportunity for them to get that experience, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna reach out to my president and let him know May 25th, 4 through from 4 to 6, we need to come out there and play because I know they play next weekend. And then after that, I'm going to get a group and we're going to come out there and just get a run with y'all.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's a Sunday. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, come early and warm up, shoot around, have a good time, and like I said, if it gets a little crowded, we have two courts going. But if keep it on the main court, having fun with it, that'd be great. You know.
Okay. No, that sounds good. I know you have other things as well. I know you are the women's head coach, but then there's also other things you work on. Let's talk on that. What else do you have going?
We were talking about earlier. Yeah, off video. We're talking about the basketball, men's basketball, elite basketball league I have over in the north side. Right now, it's over at Silver Lake LA Fitness. And interesting story how that all started. It was back when it was Move Fitness,
Okay.
and the owners Chip and Jeff and those guys. I didn't know them. They just called me into the office one day. They heard I was, organized basketball here and there around town, and they sat me down and said, "Hey, we want you to, kind of bring basketball, Mecca basketball here on the north side." And of course, I thought it was about their memberships and do all that, but they really really wanted to see some elite basketball being played on this side, on the north side of Seattle, because the south side, oh, you guys, it's good basketball over there, right? So
Right.
yeah, so what happened is it's 3 years now, and it's been going on, and it's a lot of fun. We get a lot of college guys, a lot of guys that played overseas, some high school phenom type players, and I had a great story. I just talked to the guy earlier, Jomar. He is a former player here at Shoreline, and he has a great story. I'll share this story. He played his 2 years at Shoreline, and he's just like a lot of players we talk about. 5 foot nothing, 100 pound nothing guards. They the
Yeah.
dime a dozen. And I invited him to play in the league, and I do a lot of the post game, pre game interviews, and we have on Pacific Northwest Ballers YouTube channel. My buddy Anton, Anton,
Okay.
he puts it out there, and so I interviewed him. He was player of the game one time. I interviewed him, and through the interviews and through the questions, he got really intrigued about what I was talking about and what I was saying. And he talked to me afterwards. Coach, how can I give exposure out there? I said, this is what you do. You make your highlight,
Yeah.
do your work, make the highlight reel, send it out with a nice paragraph of information about you, and it's networking. Just send it out to like 20, 30, 40 colleges and see what happens. And the beautiful thing is I called him for the next season, because we have 4 seasons a year. And I was calling him just to check if he was going to play. And I couldn't believe what he told me. He was like, "Hey, coach, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able to play. I'm just landing in Indiana. They gave me a full ride scholarship to play
Oh,
college basketball."
wow.
And he just thanked me for the opportunity of playing basketball at the league. And that's just one story. There was a few other stories like that gave some opportunities for some players. And that's what this is all about. I really just wanted to give some exposure to these players to be able to, give them a shot somewhere. Because you know how it is, coach. Sometimes, we think like there's no chance or there's no avenue,
Right.
there's no connections, and you just gotta, kind of put yourself out there and make it happen. So yeah, so that's a cool little league. Like I said, I'm in between the spring and the summer. And the summertime, it's gonna probably start up another week or two. And what's
Okay.
fun about the summer league is all the college guys come back into town, right? So they want to showcase and compete and all that kind of stuff. So they have a lot of fun. Yeah. So that's, yeah, we talked about it before. Yeah. I love it. I love to do it. I love the camaraderie. I love it. You can see it on Pacific Northwest Ballers any week of the, you turn it on and pick a game or whatever if you've been there or played there or whatever. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And I do
Yeah.
have
No.
it's just an open run, coach. It's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday group from 11, well, we're like 10:30 to about 1 o'clock, let's say. And
Okay.
this group has been around for 20 years. And when
Wow.
I first moved here, and this is how Alcott started, I first moved here, let's say over a decade ago, and I still play basketball, right? So I was looking around to find my niche. I was going to probably like 5 different gyms in a month's time, for example. LA Fitness, 24-hour fitnesses, any kind of places to play. And this one place in Mill Creek Town Center, it was a gym, like middle of the day, and it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it was very strange. But they told me it originally started with a bunch of older guys that they need that extra day break, right? So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I
Right.
just with that group, and it was a great group, and that was 10 years ago. And I just organized it on a group chat, and so now it's developed into a nice niche of about maybe, I mean, I got a group chat of over 100 guys, but we
Oh,
get
wow.
15 to 25 guys on a regular that show up, and it's a good run, so get some exercise, right? Keep it going.
Yeah. No. It's another thing. I have to throw this out here because I think it was one of the coolest things. You're 3-on-3. My guys had a chance to play in it. Uh, right? You contacted me and you told me about one of the coolest 3-on-3s I ever heard, the backyard 3-on-3 event that you had. And I reached out to my young fellas, was like, hey,
Yes.
here's some I think is pretty cool. And they had a blast.
you
Well,
know
how did you come up with that?
well, that's a great story too. My former college teammate, Saul Khalid,
Yeah.
and give a shout out to Saul. Saul's great. He years and years ago, he has a this great backyard in Kirkland, and he was telling me about this basketball court he had set up, and he was like, just come on down, let me show you. And I didn't realize until I got down and I did a little video and posted it to everybody, and we turned it into a great backyard thing. But he kept it on the DL. Like, he originally built it. He has 29 nieces and nephews, and he
Oh,
wanted a
wow.
nice, safe environment for them to go out and play basketball. So he $30,000 state of the art rubberized basketball courts, breakaway glass backboards, and it's in just carved out in the backyard. This beautiful backyard he has. So I show up. I was like, we got to do a 3-on-3 thing over here, and we during the pandemic, like, nobody could play basketball anywhere, right? So we're going out there trying to play some basketball, and we turned it into a situation where I had a DJ up on the rooftop. I had a food truck out there. We had about 100 people out there just enjoying the sun and having fun. And yeah, and that's where that kind of happened. Now, of course, life went back to normal. All the gyms opened up, and then that's when we talked. And I said, "Hey, let's do this again, this summertime thing." And I was like, "You." It was last minute too. You really hooked me up, and those kids were great. You got
Thank
a
you.
awesome program. I'm telling you, a couple of those kids are amazing. Everybody was just amazed by some of those players you brought up there. So yeah, you're right. They had a great time. It was really fun. We made a lot of video out of it, right? That was awesome. We got,
You gonna do it again this summer?
yeah, we might have to do it again. Let's do that again. That was a lot of fun. You
Yeah,
know,
we got. got to run it back. Let me know. I got more kids now in the program, and so I would love for them to be a part of it. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. What it's all about is just constantly just building once again the bridge and the relationship because I'm in a small town, right? Yes, you're up north. I used to live in Everett for like 7 years, right?
Oh,
So yeah, I moved from Bremerton after my days of playing at OC. I went to Everett. I ended up playing for the Mountaineers before playing for Tacoma. But the 24-hour fitness, I lived up there. You know what I mean? All up north, I was there. Shoreline, I was all in all of those areas, and so that's like a second home, if you want to say. And so my biggest thing, especially for my community as well, is just wanted to give us hope, right? Give us resources because, like you said, they don't see a lot of the talent that we actually have unless they get over in places where they can be showcased at. And so that's why I'd be excited when I get phone calls. Oh, you got somebody? Oh, yep, I got some players, and then we come over and they're like, "Whoa, y'all actually can play a little bit." You know what I mean? And so, yes.
I mean, it was exciting. I was super excited about it. I love it. I loved all the smiles out there and the kids just having a great time. I mean, that's what made the day right there. Those the kids division
Yeah.
because I had the adults, I had some girls playing, and but it was those kids that just had a great time. That was a lot of fun. What was that? What was the age groups you have now?
Uh,
You have
now
the
I now I have from fifth grade all the way up. So I think back then there was maybe Cody and that group, I think they was sixth grade. They're now seventh grade. That those kids used to, they're seventh grade now. But we have went down as low as fifth grade. So I have fifth grade all the way up to high school. But we're a young program right now. So a lot of my team, I don't think I have any. I know I don't have any seniors. I don't think I might have, if any, juniors, but fifth through ninth or 10th grade is majority of my program, and I think we're about 6 7 teams deep,
wow.
um with a lot of young talent, and so that's the fun part why I said, hey, like the girls that I'm gonna bring out, they're freshmen and sophomores, very young, and they play at a very high level. And then my boys too, like what you've seen, Cody and those guys, they're seventh and eighth grade. That area right there is very tough. You know what I mean? So that's the fun part about my program right now. We're young, and it's a bright future, and they're learning, and they all of them are getting better. You know.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. That was a great first impression for me when you came up. Filled that spot up real quick for me. I was appreciative of that.
Well, I was thankful. I'm one of those when I get the call and the opportunity, it be like, oh, I get excited. And I'd be like, okay, if I can help out, and especially with my program, it's all about, and like I tell my kids, I just want to give y'all be a resource for my community, not just to say my own personal program, because I
Yeah.
work with so many different other programs as well. And so it's one of those where I'm like, okay, if this can happen, then let me see. If I don't have it, I know somebody who has, something that, let's share it and continue to just to build the community as a whole. So I think that that's the cool part about it all. So this year, how are you feeling about this year coming up so far? You say you have a nice core that's coming in, right?
I'm so excited. I mean, on my back wall over there, I got my little, the secret list of recruits I got this year. The ones that signed and everything. And of course, there's a few of them out there that I'm looking at to talk to and see
Okay.
if Phil. What's awesome about this whole thing is, originally you have your list, your wish list of players you want, but Coach, the one thing I thought about this year was I thought, I do have some out of state kids, of course, but when I first got involved with this, Coach, you got to understand, I'm from Hawaii. I really didn't have the connection when I first got coaching here, And I just thought, that first level of players here in Washington, they're going to go D1 maybe, they're going to go higher level,
Yep.
let's say. And then
Yep.
that next level that, everybody's kind of going for the JUCO level, being kind of the rookie of this league here, a lot of the veteran coaches are going to, get those players. So my thought process is, let me do what I do, network out and find players from different states. So it was, I think, 2 years ago, I think 7 players out of the 12, let's say, were representing a different state. You know what
Oh
I mean?
wow.
So this year, because, and this is for people out there, the kids out there listening, we're a small budget college network of, called the NWAC. And the beautiful thing about this NWAC is we're able to give athletic waivers, let's say they call them. And it used to be 300, now it's 800, 900. You know what I mean? It's jumped up. It's now we're able to help, these student athletes to be able to get their school paid for, and help them out a lot that way. Um, yeah, so what I do is, when I looked at these players this year, I looked for the smaller schools. I kind of looked at the schools because I tell you, Coach, the Northwest has really good talent out here. And
Yeah.
I went to this. And I'll tell you this story real quick. I went to this all-state all-star game right down the street here, Kings, and they have 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A games out there, right? And we got colleges from all over watching, right? And usually all the coaches just watching, a little notepad here and there, right? But I was super excited about this one player that looked like Magic Johnson out there. I mean, the vision this girl had was just at a different level. And it's just stuff like, as guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We the guys level, but the women's side is like, I didn't see that kind of stuff. And I had to go up to her and her family and just start talking. And she signed with us. And she's like my little secret weapon nobody really knows about, I feel like, you know what I mean? And humble family, just a great, great kid. I mean, she's going to come in from a little small school in the east side of Washington. And I'm excited about her. But let me just tell you her stats. It was like 16 points a game,
Oh wow.
7 rebounds, 7 assists, or something like that. But what caught my attention was 4.7 steals a game. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
I know she's from a small school, small level, but if you can fill up the stat sheet with that,
Yep.
something about you, right? And that being said, Coach, I got about 3 other guards like that average. I got one coming in from Arizona, 5.1 steals a game. I mean, it's like putting the heat on this year. I want to see these kids go out there and put some pressure out there. So it's going to be kind of like what I had a couple years ago, in a sense, with that one squad that really was athletic. I think across the all the basketball coach I talked to, they say, "Oh, hey, you're one of the 2 schools that have the most athletic team." And I was like, "Oh, wow, okay," because everybody sees that all the teams sometimes, right? So
Right.
I was thinking, you know what? Let's get some athleticism. Let's get some speed in here. And so, yeah, I'm super excited, Coach, about this season. Got a couple nice bigs that's coming in. I really excited about that. So, couple national JUCO players that used to be kind of thing. You know what I mean? Now they're over here. So it's gonna be exciting season. I think. We'll see.
So you say you have a few spots left. What are you looking for in those spots?
Like I said, it's one of those things where I kind of look at scenarios. Another thing is, I had an interview, not an interview, but a conversation with a coach that was sending over a player, and great skill set, which I like you said, fundamentally sound is one of them. If they have, speed and quickness is great. If you're talking about size, great. You got good footwork, that'd be awesome. But what really impressed me about this coach telling me about this player was the character. Great
That
character.
part.
I mean,
Yes.
that's if you have players out there that just have good character. I love
Okay.
the support scenario. You know what I mean? Because if you got good family support, they're going to be behind you no matter what, and ups and downs and all this and that, right? So yeah, so those things are great. Coach,
Wow.
and in this league, 75% of all student athletes, students here, they have some kind of Pell Grant, federal help. So we,
Okay.
if kids that qualify for FAFSA, they will be able to, with that money, we'll be able to help them all through college. Because just to
Okay.
let you know, people out there, just to let you know, school is very cheap at this level. You're looking at like 45 to 6,000 a year, and FAFSA, they can give out, with 6,000 plus for school, and then another 6,000 for work study. We're looking at $12,000 package, right?
True.
So kids come in thinking like, not only are they getting their school paid for, but they're actually making a little bit of money in their pocket, in a sense, right? So it really helps out a lot of families out there. So yeah, coach, if kids in that scenario, to answer your
Okay.
question, those are the kind of kids I'd like to help out, of course.
Okay.
Um, Overall, like I said, good character kids, kids that probably invested a lot of time since they were young into basketball, because those are the ones that they have kind of that obligation. They got their family behind them that support them all their life. They got their friends, teammates, and also their coaches, right? That helped them
Yeah.
out. You got to give credit to all those coaches, the AAUs, and all those teams that they club play and all that. I mean, that's a lot of invested time. You know how it is, coach. It's just putting that time in, for these new generations to really live out their dreams. So yeah, to answer your question, that's the kind of players I'm looking for. Somebody that just really wants it for themselves. It's great.
It's funny you mentioned this one word, character. This is I did a few podcasts lately on different levels, and one of the things that we across the board we've been talking about is the character, right? And I tell them, I said, man, a lot of folks just think it's about scoring buckets, but they don't understand the character, being coachable. For especially think about at a JUCO, we both played at a JUCO level. You know what I mean? So it's different because I play here at OC, playing there, where it's like, especially transition from high school, you're first getting like you getting, I guess, on your feet. You're testing the waters out, trying to be an adult, and you got this freedom, but then there's still in that you got the responsibility, right? So you got the workload, you got the practices, you got all this and that. And so it's one of those where you got to be on top of what you have to be on top of. And you're not being babysit. You know what I mean? It's not like you're saying, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. And that's one of the things when I remember playing college and JUCO, where it's like a lot of kids didn't take care of business. And so after the first semester, they're gone. You know what I mean? Because grades come out and this happened, and then you're like, oh man. And so your character really matters because for us as a coach, we don't have time to be babysitting. We're not going to babysit at this level. It's like, hey, we got a game plan, we got this and that. And there's so many kids that's looking for opportunity. And at a JUCO level, too, as we say, it's a dog fight. It's just a whole different kind of animal,
Yeah.
because everybody's trying to make it. You only got 2 years if you
Yes.
want to continue to keep going.
Yes. Yes.
So,
That.
so I think that that's a thing that really stuck out. That's something that I'm big on, and I try to be an example of, and I look for it in other players when I coach them, and I really preach to them like, hey, this is gonna take you a lot further than you trying to, oh yeah, I got all this, I got 30, 40 buckets, but then you're uncoachable, your attitude is horrible, your character, you know what I mean? We're not going to want to deal with you, you know what I mean? So I think that that's the big part too. So I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind. I already
Yeah.
know I have so many folks that contact me, and this is another reason why I wanted to have you on too, because from the women's side, it's not a lot of opportunities, right? And so now for them to see, oh man, coach, there's a real opportunity. Yes, there's a real opportunity for you to go to play college and continue to keep going because it's all about having the right people along that journey. And I'm thankful to have a relationship with you because I really respect and love you as a person, not just as what you do, just knowing that I hand over a kid and their family to you, they're in good hands. you know.
Yeah, that, yeah. Yeah,
So
that's the obligation I have. It's like, when these families, hand over their child for you to take care of. And I have great relationships with the families too. That's a good thing to do. And they want the best for their kids, of course. And I got to give a shout out to my team this year where on the academic side, just this last quarter, I think I had four girls 4.0s. You know what I mean?
wow.
So they're doing their work right, and they're doing what they need to do, and that's awesome to see that kind of stuff. And I got three players that are graduating,
Okay.
and give a shout out to them. Taimani's a great player that came from a great program out of high school. She should have went to a 4-year school. I was so lucky to get her to come here JUCO first, and she's got about 6 or 7 offers. She's being methodical about her decision making, and
Okay.
she's gonna make a good decision. Come this probably springtime sometime here, and see where she's gonna move on to. And then we have Jocelyn. Jocelyn's a player I have, a guard. It was a tough scenario. She's never had an injury all her life. She's amazing, coachable player. Just a great defensive player both ways. She had an ACL, coach, halfway through the
Oh,
season. Yes, and that was the first one she's ever had injury wise. And before the surgery, she was telling me that she's still going to want to play ball, take take care of her knee this year, and then go play ball next year. So I'm hoping that she might be here to help me coach this year. She stays home and goes to school just for school wise. And then of
okay.
course another sophomore I have is Alana. Alana just hopefully there's a scenario for her to not only go to play college basketball and the whole 9 yards. So we'll see what happens in another week or so if she gets that opportunity where she wants to go.
Okay. And I know that that's a big thing too. It sound like because most folks, well, I have to go. Well, everybody want to go D1, right? That's not a reality, right? That's just being honest. And they underestimate the JUCO, right? Oh, I'm going to JUCO. Oh, I don't want to go there. But understanding that the right program is going to help you and allow you to not only prepare yourself, but you can continue on to a 4-year college. And so it sounds like you have one of the better programs, you know what I mean, just from a success off the court and on the court to help these young women to continue their journey.
Yeah.
So
Yes, yeah, that's what we want to do.
and so that's the thing. I'm just like I said, I always throw it out there because there's so many players that's constantly looking and they want to know. And as they come my way, of course, one of my first picks, of course, is Shoreline. This is a personal relationship for all those who know and who get to watch. Uh, is like I said, why I do my podcast is also a thing where I want you to see the relationships because that's the big part. These are people that I personally have relationships with, and so when you begin to, especially when you deal with young adults and people kids, right? That's a precious item that you're like, I don't want to just throw them to anybody. And so it's one of those where it's like, okay, you trust me enough. Well, I trust this person and I know they're going to be in good hands. So for all the women who are young ladies who are looking for a home, Shoreline, Coach Dennis, I highly recommend. Like I said, he has a few openings. Character is going to be key, right? So we don't care how many buckets you can score if you don't have good character.
Yes,
Yeah, don't waste his time. You know what I mean? Because it's going to come out. He's been around long enough to be able to see through all of that. Um, man, so before we get off, what has been one of the most memorable moments in this job at Shoreline for you?
that's a great question, Coach. a lot of times people, look at the accolades of what the team's done, or the highlights of what the team has done, but sometimes you look at the lowlights, what scenarios happen. And you know I've 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 got a lot of success, and I haven't been coaching a long time at this level, but with the men's, when I was over there, we made it to the NWACs that year I was with them. And then, by the time I got over to the women's, it was like NWACs 2, 3 years in a row. And then this past year, it was tough year. Everything that could go wrong went wrong in a sense, right? So, to think about those times of memorable times is this group I had this year, the camaraderie with this group. It was definitely a wide span of like inexperienced and experienced players coming together. But when you have that width like that, I don't know what it is, but these players, I did take them on a team bonding, where we went to Lake Chelan and enjoyed before the season started and all that. And going on the boat and just enjoying with those videos and swimming and exercising out there and all that. That would Thinking back, that was a great memory too. That beginning part. I just feel like that's why I tell the girls, give me something I can remember you by, and I'm looking up on my wall and I see all these memorabilia stuffs. I think of, so to think back, to say one of the best things is just when I look at these pictures and see the smiles on their faces, I remember that moment. You know what I mean? I remember that moment right when that picture snapped, like what was going through everybody's minds, what was we were laughing about, joking about, and so I'd say the road trips, um, most memorable. The road trips, just a great time in the vans, driving. And I tell you this, the players would say the same thing because I hear them talking about it. It was always about having a good time. Yeah. So yeah, that's what really makes me feel good about this job is really seeing those smiles on those faces and the experiences that they're getting from this. Because after it's all said and done, this coach later on in life, we're still friends with where maybe our teammates or people we played against and played with, back then.
Yeah.
And that's really shows how important this was in time of our lives, right? And so I always tell the girls, it's this is the best time of your life right now. College sports, college itself, enjoy it, right? Short lived.
Right. No, it is, and that is so true. The experience, y- y- like I said, especially when you go through adversity. That's one of the things too, right? Because everybody always talk about the highs when you're on the mountaintop, you're winning this and that. But when you go through adversity and you make memorable moments and great times and you make it through, that's something that you'll never forget. And I can speak on that because I've had my moments, where we only won 1 or 2 games and we fought, and it's saying, how do you keep the morale? How can you keep, pushing? How do you keep all of these things going? Because that's honestly, that's how life is. Life is not always going to be great. You know what I mean? It's not always going to be the good times. You're going to have some down times. And who's around you and how do you make it through? In basketball, I can say, and especially college, I got some times I had went through some things in life, and my college teammates and the coaches and all of that is what helped me make it through. And I still remember, you know what I mean? And it's a joy. So that's a great one. For you to say, because it's one of those where you say, oh, you hear a lot of, oh yeah, I won this championship and this and that, but that's it, something that they will always remember and always cherish. You know what I mean? So, yep. I'm like, okay, yep. I still got a few more minutes, so we got to throw more, couple more questions. When we talk about players, right? Because this is one of the things that I try to. It's different, I would say, from I could say a AAU program, or who wants to go on to college, but to actually hear from a college coach, right? And I speak about body language. I speak about the things that are turnoffs for coaches, and so I would like for you just to share maybe a few of those things that would make you a player may have like 20, 30 points, whatever it may be, but it's these other things that you say, you know what, I pass on these points, and I may go with somebody who may not score as many points because of these things. Can you speak on that?
Well, and the way I'm going to speak about this is very common across coaches. Also, is like as we as we're recruiting, as we're watching high school games, as we're watching AAU, as we're watching these recruits, you know, a lot of times it's not what they're doing with the ball; it's what they're doing without the ball, and that's on the court and off the court, like you were saying. So, body language to see how they support their teammates, to see how engaged they are in the timeout. Those are the things that you want to see, and it's a prerequisite to know what kind of player you're going to probably get. When they get to the next level. So yeah, as a coach, I look at those things. When nobody's watching you with the ball, right? You seen with how you're acting. Are you engaged?
Uh,
Very interesting, coach. You brought this up. That I had a recruit visit, and she was actually just watching. She didn't play in this, open run thing at one particular time of scrimmage, let's say. And two of her teammates, that potential teammates, she noticed after conversation with her after she had left, and I asked her about her trip and what she remembered the most or what was memorable. She had a long list of great positive things, but one of the things she said, I was really excited to see two of my potential teammates when they were sitting on the bench cheering their teammates on. And you know what I mean? So
wow.
they recognize, and especially the women's side, it's a little different from the men's side, right?
Yep.
The intuitive about scenarios like that. So for them to feel comfortable where they would go, to be able to see who they might be playing with and know that this camaraderie, this connection could be good because of that. That was awesome. That was a great answer she gave me. That was a great thing that she realized that she wanted, and she signed. She signed with us. So that's was perfect. Yeah.
No, that's good. I was speaking actually to a couple of my young players today. I went to a game, and I and this is for all the AAU or developmental because I have both. It's an AAU program, but I have a developmental side. I pride myself in my program on developing, right? It's not just picking the best players and going out there and when it's saying how do we help them to develop to be the best, right? At whatever skill level it may be. And I had some young guys that freshmen, right? And then I'm like, okay, you're dribbling way too much. You're supposed to be my point guard, right? I need you to, you know, understand the game, find your weapons, set them up. I don't need you trying to break a press by dribbling through and it's a turnover. It's a turnover. You got to understand these things. What is the coaches? Because I had to ask my coach, wait, we got a press break, right? Because what I'm looking at as a fan, you know what I mean, on that sideline, this is not working. He's trying to dribble and it's not, it's a turnover, turnover. Okay, I thought we had a press break. So let me talk to the player and say, hey, you break a press by passing. Right, not trying to dribble through this and that. Then I had another player that I call chasing the ball. Right, you know how that is. Hey, here, here, wherever the ball went, here, 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 here. I'm like, sir, don't
Yeah.
do that, right? This is not basketball. And now I'm gonna speak to y'all because I'm a coach on the outside. Y'all want to go play at the next level, and that's my job and then the program job. And so I'm gonna tell you what a coach is not gonna take. And so you're pounding the ball in the ground,
Yeah.
why? Right? And you're chasing the ball here, here, here. No, we're not looking for that. You know what I mean? You gotta understand your roles and let's break these habits now. Because if you try to continue to keep going and you become a senior and you're doing those things, you're not gonna go to the next level, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
so that's why I had to throw that out there where it's like, okay, I understand, I'm not a college coach, but y'all want to go play college, right? So I'm gonna ask the college coaches, what do they look for? What do they don't look for? So y'all can have this information and they can come back and check out a video and said, hey, coach, you're right. You know what I mean? This is what he's saying. If you want to go play a Shoreline, this is what he's looking for, right?
Yeah.
And he spoke across the board. This is a coaches across the board. You know what I mean? So, you know, I let me see how can, because we're about to get ready to close. Because like I said, I try not to keep people on past an hour because I respect their time and I'm appreciative for you coming on and just giving us so much knowledge and understanding from a collegiate standpoint and even from you know what you're looking for at your program because like I said I've been watching and y'all are one of the like I said, y'all have some girls that can really go, and you have been doing a very great job there, and I highly support your program, and so I appreciate your taking the time to talk with us. But how can people reach out to you? Send whatever it may be, their film, their highlights. So, what what's the best way for them to reach out to you, and what do they need to send you if they're interested in coming to your school?
Well, I get a lot of emails through my school email, Dennis
Okay,
Harrison 2 at shoreline.edu. And they can reach out to me that way, and I answer all my emails and be able to reach out to these student athletes that want an opportunity. You know what I mean? And so when they not only give me information about themselves, but little small little paragraph about like you said, maybe might fill in there with a little character, a little background, family support, all this kind of things that really might catch my eye to see that they genuinely really want it. That hunger in them that they want this opportunity. You know what I mean? And that's why I look for in these emails. So yeah, they can reach out to me at here at Shoreline College. Of course, Coach, you got my number 808-561-6971. You can call me, text me anytime. I got to thank you, Coach. I mean, yeah, like I said, the prerequisite of me seeing your kids, I already know you fundamentally put them together really well. So anything coming from you, Coach, I know it's going to be a good thing. I'm just going to be really excited to see what kind of female players that you have that might contact me, because I know if they're coming from you, they're going to be good. They're going to be good in all the
thank
character
you.
ways, all the ways, family support, all that, everything we talked about. That's going to be a good thing for
I
sure.
greatly appreciate that, Coach. And like I said, May 25th, I'm definitely gonna come out there, bring some just talent, just so we can start building that relationship as a whole. Because I think it's important. Like I said, there's limited resources on the female side, and so I feel like the more that we can begin to offer them and show them the way, I hope it would encourage. The young ladies to continue to push hard, to work hard, because there are some young ladies I know just in my program alone, they put in a lot of work and they do want to play at that next level. And it's all about do I have a chance? Where can I go? This and that. And so by being able to meet actual college coaches, even now, freshman, sophomore, that give them hope and say, okay, this is what I need to do. This is, worst case scenario. If I put in my bids and do right, I at least have somebody that's looking at me. You know what I mean? So I'm always thinking ahead, and once again, I really appreciate just the words that you spoke on me and my program because that's one thing I try to really live, have integrity and create young men and women in life as well as for the sport, right? So they can continue, like I tell them, hey, I can help you go. If you want to go to college, I got some college connections. You want to go pro, go pro. You know what I mean? I'm gonna help you all in those directions, but it's making sure that they have the work ethics and the other part that you mentioned and this will be the last question for you, and we'll call it a night. You mentioned the family support, right? And that's something that what does that mean when you say family support?
Well, when I say family support, I really, I ask coaches, and I ask people that are sending me recruits, is how their family support them, because it's one of those things when you as a player, it's already hard enough to be able to get to this level, or even try to be able to get an opportunity at this level. And a lot of times, financially you need help, Sometimes
Yep.
you need that, that backbone of support from your friends or family. So that's why those family support is really important, because, and you know how it is, coaches, the ups and downs of this level of basketball. So when you're on the low side of it, you need that family support to lean on. And what I'm trying to say is, a crazy example is I had a player that family was not in this state, and this particular player worked 12 hours in a day, 5 days a week, and I just couldn't imagine, how does this person being able to do this,
Right.
and didn't have the physical family support here, the financial family support here, and she only the money that she could make. And can you imagine that, coach? You're a college kid trying to go to school and play sports and then have to work 12 hours in a day. That's almost an
Yeah.
overkill. And so the toughest part of that is, what could possibly happen that could ruin it all? Lose the job. And that, so family support to be able to, sustain a big blow like that. So had to give up the basketball dream, had to maybe give up the school dream for a little while, right? So these kind of stories, are real, and
Yeah.
so if you can get some family support, um if it's emotional, if financial, it's half the battle sometimes. So that's the to answer your question, coach, that's important, for this generation. You know what I mean? It's important for this generation to be able to have their young minds, young kids, they're just learning how to be on their own 2 feet. So as much as we can help coach as coaches, right, much support we can, and just to let you know, also, I give a shout out to my athletic director, Cameron Dollar. Cameron Dollar is an amazing person, and he's come in here this first year, and he's so supportive of all the programs, ultimately, right? But him being a D1, coach,
Yep.
CFU, UW. I mean, he was athletic director at the high school, of in the local high school. For him to come here and coach, and he's from our era, like that era, 1995 UCLA national
Yeah.
champion. There's
Yeah.
got Brown, right? So we got him right here in the office next door to me, and this is great. So yeah, so that support is going to be here at Shoreline for the girls, for the young ladies, and if whatever we can do, coach, whatever we can do, we can help them out, right? We got to do it.
Yes, sir. Hey, I once again appreciate you. I appreciate everybody who took the time to watch us live, and those who are going to watch the replay. I think once again, this is, I always say, definitely one of my better podcasts. They're always different, but this one here, like I said, is the first one that I had a female head coach, college head coach. Uh, and just the information that has been given has been amazing. The program itself, Shoreline, highly recommend, and you're gonna see some of the Lady Admirals, future Lady Admirals. I'm sure is going to be a part of that roster at some point. That's just the kind of relationship that we're building. And
Thank you.
yes, I just want to say thank y'all for tapping in with me, the ambassador, live and unscripted, and with a good friend of mine, Coach Dennis. And you would be seeing me tomorrow with the unit. I'll be back with Cross. Somebody say, yep, Killer Cross and Kendo Sauce on the unit tomorrow at 7 o'clock. So
Okay.
we will be back. So thank you, Coach Dennis, and we and you will be definitely talking offline. So thank you, sir, for your time.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I love this. This is great.
You
Appreciate you.
are. All right. Thank you, Coach. Have a good night.
Good night. Good night.